It is so wonderful to meet you. I'm super excited about this interview, and I have a feeling we're going to learn so much from you today. So tell us about yourself. First of all, tell us who you are.
Well, I'm Tommie Carter. I am the president and founder of Texas Vortex Storm Chase Team. We are one of the largest storm chase teams in the world. I have people in Australia and Scotland and South Korea, England, and then we come over to the United States. We're in several states: Oklahoma, Texas, Kansas, Arkansas, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Florida, Colorado. We're all over the place. So, but we have several different businesses within Texas Vortex. We have a natural disaster response team, which we're setting up. We've been setting that up for the past 2 years. We have a media team. We have a drone pilot team. We have chase team. You name it, we have it. So, I mean, we've been in business since 2013. It was just me and my wife that started out. And then we just started hiring people on. It's all volunteer. It's not a paid position. I don't even get paid. So it's more volunteer and just to help save lives.
Wow, incredible. Where are you at right now? You're actually monitoring some other storm chasers right now.
Yeah, so we got chases going out right now. It's a 4-day setup, and right now they're running out of the Kansas area, I believe. Tomorrow we'll have people running out of the Arkansas area, and then Saturday we'll have Kansas, Illinois, Indiana, and some Texas running, and then Sunday I'll be running with my wife. We'll be chasing storms in West Texas.
So do you have sponsors that help fund part of this, or?
Well, mostly right now I have sponsors for my truck. The sponsors that I have right now on my truck is all my windows inside my truck are a shatterproof windows. So in other words, if hail hits it the size of a softball, it won't come through. It won't shatter my windows. I have paint and body guys that sponsor my truck as well. If I have an issue or if I have a fender bender, they'll take care of it. It doesn't cost me anything. That's, other than our shirt companies, they give us so much % off. Our sticker sign companies, they give us so much off. But sponsor wise, we're working on investors right now. We've got some projects that I cannot explain that's going on. But they're big investors. We're talking about millions of dollars investors, which we will build our own equipment. We'll have our own stuff. We will never third party anything. We don't third party nothing. So, and then right now we fund our own stuff. So a lot of our money comes out of our own pocket. Like fuel right now, fuel's so expensive. Mm-hmm. We budget every year, and then I have $2,000 to run this year, and $2,000 can actually go pretty quick with the fuel. So, we scrounge around. I'm already sitting close to $800 in fuel already this year, and we're just coming to peak season in May. So hopefully I won't be over my 2,000 mark, but it sometimes happens.
So what inspired, when did this really start for you, this passion to chase storms?
Well, it's always been a passion. I've always loved rain. I've always loved clouds. Ever since I was even able to know what a cloud was and rain was, so when I was in school, I really loved science. I really loved a lot of history, but science was more of my area of fun, I guess. But where it really started at was I always lived on the coast of Texas. And of course, almost every year we had hurricanes. So going around and chasing these storms, and as I got older, I mean, my dad loves rain and weather, but he wasn't a storm chaser. He was in law enforcement. So seeing people having issues like flooding in their homes and stuff like that. Um, and back then, really, there wasn't any warning. There wasn't anything out there. Just a little strip that came across your TV screen. Um,
Mm.
I guess when I got my driver's license when I was about 19, 18, 19 years old, is when I started kind of going out by myself, chasing hurricanes, stuff like that. You know, I'd see storms, I'd see funnel clouds and tornadoes drop and stuff. But I really didn't really get into it until the early parts of 2000. Um, so, you know, I would go out. I used to work in the oil field, and I would just see some storm, and I'd say, hey, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to just follow this thing. And then the show Storm Chasers came out that was on TV. And it really fascinated me. It's like, wow, they actually do this. And, you know, we've watched all of us chasers, we have watched the movie Twister.
Right.
And Twister's a big deal to us. And, you know, I guess just by seeing that movie and actually seeing the show Storm Chasers, the TV show, it kind of sparked something inside of me. And a matter of fact, I was married to my first wife at that time, and we were sitting in the living room, and I said, you know, I'm gonna do that one of these days. And lo and behold, after my brief divorce, I moved up to Dallas, and one of my friends that I hadn't seen in a long time, he contacted me and said, hey, let's go out on a storm chase. So my first actual big tornado was the Frederick, Oklahoma tornado, which was an EF5. And so I actually got to see a mile wide tornado, and I was hooked. It was just, after that, it's just every year we can't wait for that year, that season to start, because it's a rush. It's we don't do this stuff for a rush. We don't. My team doesn't.
Yeah.
We do it to help save lives. So hopefully that answered your question.
That's incredible. I mean, I was wondering if you ever, like, has there been any situation where you actually feared for your life?
Oh, yeah, there's several. Now, so you have different storm chasers. You have storm chasers that go out here and just monitor the structure of clouds. You have chasers that only chase hail, rain, floods. Uh, the difference between what I call myself as a professional chaser is I go into the system. I don't stay outside and look at the clouds. I literally go inside the system, and where all the rotation is, where the tornado drops, I will be beside that tornado. Now, I have been hit 11 times, 11, maybe 11, maybe 14 times. I've been hit with a tornado, and I love it. I love doing it, but it's not a recommendation to do. There's two different ways of doing that. If you stand still and you're in the vehicle I'm in, and I have a real lifted truck, it's 14 inches of lift, you would be picked up and prone. I did this while moving. I would penetrate the storm, the tornado would come down, and then I'd be inside of it by accident, I guess. It's kind of like a magnetism thing of mine. It just decides it wants to hit me, I guess. I don't know. But I've chased 400. Hold on just one moment, please.
Sure, yeah.
Yes. I'm fine. Somebody trying to sell me a 4K television. How about that? Anyways, I get all these people that just come up to me at random notice. Anyways, back to what I was saying. I go into these storms that are real wicked, real bad. And I missed the hill course, so I have you can look at my vehicle, there is no dents. There's ways to go around these storms. One of my worst situations that I've had is where I was in a cornfield and the road ended, and we had what we call a mother tornado that was spitting out triplets with it, and they were on each side of us. It was 10 o'clock at night, no visual, no radar, no phone service. We couldn't call out. We couldn't see it. We could feel it sucking us backwards. Oh. And there was a point in time, a buddy of mine pressed down on the accelerator, the go-go juice, and we were standing still. There was no movement. So we came up with a plan. We said, you know what we're going to do is we're going to let it pull us backwards, and then we're going to turn the wheel as it, to the left as it pulls us backwards. And then we're going to put it in drive, and then we're going to push down the accelerator as it turns us sideways. And then we're going to try to pull out of the suction. And that's what we did. I'm here to tell that story. Of course, when we got down the road, we ended up, opening up the door and throwing up and praying to God and everything, I've been in several situations. That's one of the worst ones. That's the most fearful part, I guess, of my job, I guess. You never know. Kind of like Tim Samaras that used to be on Storm Chasers, a TV show. He passed away in a tornado, and it just moved, I believe, 6 inches. Oh. So at any given moment, things can happen. We try our best to not be in that situation, but I mean, I haven't been in a real bad situation for the past 2 years like that. But I had 4 tornadoes on that time coming at me, and I had to go through a tree to save myself. So I literally drove through a tree that was on the ground, and it wasn't no little tree; it was a big tree. So there's been some bad ones. So.
Wow. Well, so your wife does this with you. Do you have children?
No, unfortunately, I'm not able to have kids. I wanted kids real bad, but I can't have kids. My sister can't even have kids. So
I'm sorry.
No, in the future we're gonna adopt, but we just haven't done it yet. I've been so busy with trying to create this business. And I mean, I just don't own this business. I own 9 other businesses as well, and in different aspects of different things. So I'm very busy. My wife is a LVN at the Veterans Hospital here in Kerrville, and when she gets a chance, she goes chasing with me as well. So, it's kind of in the family.
That's incredible. Well, that's what I was wondering, how it was for family life. And so she, chases with you and she has the opportunity. So that's really cool that you can both share the same passion.
Right. Well, see, so when I married my wife in 2013, that's when Texas Vortex basically started. My wife, I was in between jobs and I was in the oil field. And I told her, I said, I don't know what I'm going to do. I mean, we don't know if we're going to be able to, if I'm going to be able to find another job or not, because the oil field had basically shut down. And she's like, I don't want you to go back to work. She said, I want you to follow your dreams. We're fine. I'm an LVN, I'm a nurse. We make good money. Just follow your dreams. And that's how Texas Vortex started.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's amazing. I love it. So, well, what do you find most rewarding in this and what you do?
I guess it's the ability to help warn people.
Yeah.
Um, I don't really get anything off of it. I might take a photo and go down to the print shop and take a picture of it and put it on my wall uh, for memory. But the most rewarding part would be when someone, say, like we had this one lady one time in Tampa, Texas. She follows us, and we were going live. We had chasers out there. We were warning the storm, and then she messages us, and she's like, "We have no service up here. The tower is down. I can't even see it on TV. What is the tornado doing?"
Oh,
And I, at that point, I said, "Okay, guys, I've got to focus on this lady." And I told her when to go in underground into the shelter, and then she stayed on the phone with me while we were walking her through the tornado situation. Her house was the only house standing,
oh, wow.
and she was underground, and the other houses were all gone. That is the most rewarding when I can help people save their lives or their family or whatever. That's the rewarding part to me.
Yeah.
So
Oh, wow. That gave me goosebumps. I get goosebumps a lot in these podcasts, and that gave me goosebumps. That's amazing. I love
yeah,
it.
yeah,
So where do
yeah.
you get your motivation and inspiration from, in doing this? Do you do this? So is there's a certain time of year then that you're doing this? And where do you normally, work from?
Well, so I work out of my truck. This is my office. Um, or you can catch me at a coffee shop somewhere and I'm drinking coffee and talking to people. But my motivation from all of this, again, was kind of like Twister, the movie. I mean, my dream was to have uh, a full research team to see if we can make better vehicles and houses and to warn people more and stuff like that. So as the years went, and I met Albert Flores there in San Antonio, he inspired me to do more things like my media business, uh, to capture more of a TV slash documentary style team, and that's what we've created. Um, all my guys on this team, they do their own photography, they do their own videography. Some of them have drones that's fixed to change to where all of us will have drones.
Oh,
Um, so that's the motivation, I guess. I don't know how else to explain that. It's a passion. It's just
yeah.
uh, when you are your own boss. Every one of my guys are their own boss. They have nobody over them but me. But I don't mess with them. When you're out at a crossroad, this is how I can explain it. When you are out on a crossroad and you have stop signs everywhere or whatever, and you're pulled over on the side of the road and you're watching this storm, the only person or the only thing is you, Mother Nature, and God. That's it.
Yeah.
And that that feeling, you would have to be there to understand the feeling. So hopefully that answers the question. But I guess it's just the feeling of not having to worry about anything else but yourself and what the earth is providing at that point.
Gotcha. Wow. So you said you use drones. Do you have any other like special tools that you use for tracking the storms?
I've got about $25,000 worth of cameras. So I run, like yourself, you got guitars. I run cameras. You would not believe. I mean, we've got GoPros that go on top of the truck. I've got 7 cameras inside this truck. I've got cameras that look at me, cameras that look out the front windows, side windows, and back window, on the bumper, on the front bumper. The GoPro on top. Then we have our camera equipment, which I run Canon. I run a Canon T3. My wife runs a Sony A55. You know, those are expensive cameras. You know, well over $1,000. I've got a Sony camcorder, a digital camcorder. I've got several Sony camcorders, handheld camcorders. I might use them for different things. I've got probably about 15 tripods that we can pull cameras off, put different cameras on. I have my own drone as well. You know, just there's all sorts of things. We have a radar system. If you kind of look behind me, there's a white pole back there, and that white pole has a full weather station on the back end of it. So if I was to turn this screen around and look, you could actually see my monitor that's sitting right beside the phone right now, that's monitoring all of the weather, the barometric pressure, the temperature, the wind direction, ground temperature, atmospheric temperature. All of that is telling me what's going on right now. We use that in the field. But yeah, when I'm chasing, I got cameras all over this thing. Even my wife can't even see out the window because there's cameras everywhere. That's some of the expenses within this thing. You know, it's just not only gas and wear and tear on your vehicle. And matter of fact, this new drone that I'm looking at buying is almost as much as buying a brand new car. So, you know, a $30,000 drone that's going to be the big thing. You know, that's going to go in the back of my truck. I'll be able to operate it from my truck. Now, if we go let's say we got invested, now that's a different story. We're looking at close to $2 million worth of tools. You know, we've got big trucks that will go inside the tornadoes. We'll have our own Doppler radars on wheels. We'll have all sorts of different objects, a 3D ground infrared radar system, all sorts of things. We'll even be able to collect hail and keep it frozen for at least 7 days, and then take it back to universities. Yeah. So we're doing all sorts of things. I mean, and it's expensive. It's very expensive. I mean, I know guys that's got at least $100,000 worth of equipment. You know, right now, not even being sponsored. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot to it, but I didn't really think there was going to be that much to it. You know, I thought, man, I could just grab me a little HEB camera or some type of crap like that and go out, shoot pictures, and develop them at HEB. No, that's a different story, because you don't want so much pixelization. You need to know about cameras. You need to know about quality of photos. Like when I take a photo of a tornado or a mesocyclonic storm, which is a storm that rotates, I can print it at 100 of an inch by 100 of an inch. So in other words, it's a big, huge photo. I don't have any room to put that big of a photo on my wall, but I have that set up to where if I do sell the photo, and when I sell photos, I don't sell them in multiple. I don't have a 1, 2, 3, 4. If you buy a photo of mine, you get the only one, and I have a copy. That's it. So that person will only have one, and then I sign them, because those photos are. I mean, I sold a photo for $8,000.
Oh wow!
You know? But we don't get paid all the time. Yeah, we don't get paid all the time.
Right.
But in videos, depending on who you sell them to, I mean, we had an offer on a video for $10,000. I've seen videos go up to $40,000 for them.
Oh wow!
So you know, one chase could give you a bunch of money, but most of the time I haven't made any money this year. So, and I haven't seen but two tornadoes for the season. One of my guys has seen 8. So, but he hasn't sold any of his photos either. We try to wait until the end of the year, and then we start trying to sell photos. But with our new deal that we've got going on, the sponsor will actually get the photos, and we're getting paid.
Gotcha.
So that's the equipment. And for instance, I was telling one of my guys just yesterday. This used to be just a hobby for me, and it's turned into a job. And usually you get burnout on a job. It no longer becomes a hobby or something fun, because now I have 50 chasers, and I have to talk to them all the time and set up meetings and do this and do that, and it's no longer just me going out and chasing storms anymore. And it became a job. When I first started, there might have been 1,200 storm chasers in America, period. There was nobody across the world at that point. Now, across the world, I would say there's about 1,200 people chasing storms across the world. In the United States alone, there's over 60,000 chasers now. So it's very competitive. You're always talking to National Weather Service. You've got to go and take classes. We take classes every year. We have to take FEMA courses. All of it may be free courses, but you have to do continuing education every year, because things change all the time with these storms. So, that's one of the things about it. When you go on a chase, it's like rush hour San Antonio. Gotcha. There might be 4,000 chasers chasing at one time. That's now. Back then, there wasn't that many people that chased. You might run into 3 or 4, and that's about it. But now it's rush hour. You've got all the universities out there. You've got all the researchers out there. You have National Weather Service out there. You have professional storm chasers. Then you have all the amateurs. I ran into a 15-year-old kid, and he was asking me about radars, and I was like, "Hey, man, what are you doing out here? How old are you?" "I'm 15 years old." "Is that your vehicle?" "No, it's my mom's." "Go back, get in your vehicle, and take off, because you don't need to be here. This is a bad situation." So we have to deal with all of that. Anyways, it's just there's some things that people shouldn't be doing.
Right. Well, I have a question. So back to being able to sell the photography and the video, what kind of, is it just individuals that will buy that photo, or is it like a news station or weather station? Is that normally like who your clients would be?
Well, sometimes it's just a weather enthusiast. Like the photo that I sold to a guy out of Australia, he was a doctor, and he just wanted to put it on his wall in his office so he could look at it all the time. A lot of them is, yes, news outlets and stuff, but if you go back to the 60,000 chasers, and you got 5,000 chasers chasing one storm, and you're on that storm, and you take the photo or the video of that storm, you have to have the ability to download it and send it or go live to get paid. If you are the first or the second, maybe third person in line that has sent it to that outlet, then you get paid extremely well. But you may not, and then you're trying to sell it later on. Most of my photos, I've got photos that range anywhere from $1,000 to $10,000, depending on what I take. They go on my website, or they go on my site and say, "Hey, this is for sale," or whatnot. Yeah. And then if somebody buys it, they buy it, But a lot of people, I've had people, most of my photos that's been sold, or my videos that's been sold, is across the world. It's because they don't see that type of storm over there in England or Scotland or
Ah,
Australia. It's a little bit different because everything over there is anticyclonic. In the United States, it's cyclonic. So it changes. The tornado you can actually see. The tornado over there you cannot. It does something totally different over there.
and they
So
find you through your website, or they find you through some other source that you use to just send pictures to, you were saying that?
well, no, we'd have to do it live. So in other words, if we took a photo or a video right at that point, we would have to have it sent to the director of whatever news outlet. Um, but if we're selling an individual, I just put it on my website, or I may not even list it. It may be so too pretty to me to where I don't even want to list it, and it just sits on my wall. And when I die, my kids get it or my nephew gets it. It's just I've got some photos that's like that, and I've never sold them. I went out and spent $400 on a canvas photo and stuck it on my wall, and nobody
Beautiful.
sees it unless you come over. You know.
Well, so how
Um,
did the doctor find you then? He just found your website and then,
no, so that guy was a friend of mine. We actually
ah,
played an online war game and
ah,
on Facebook, and he knew me and he knew what I did, and then he contacted me and he said, "Hey man, I'd like to have that photo. What would you take?" And I didn't have to frame it. I didn't have to print it. I just sent him the file. He bought it for $8,000.
oh wow, that's
So
incredible.
I
That's the coolest.
yeah
How can we
yeah.
find your photos, and where would we go to see?
So we're on 30 different platforms across the world, social media platforms. Our main platform is Twitter and Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram. We're on YouTube. And all you got to do is type in on the search bar Texas Vortex Storm Chase Team. And
Okay.
the reason why I say that is there's another one in Dallas called Texas Storm Chasers, but we're not affiliated with them at all.
Okay.
Uh, but it's Texas Vortex Storm Chase Team. And then we have a website called texasvortex.org. And you can learn all about the team. You can even see all of us on there. You can see uh, we've got our own podcast that we do sometimes. Um, a little bit of everything. Our sponsors are on there. Um, so that's how you find us. Or if you see me in town, or if you see me on the road, um, you cannot miss my truck. It's a huge lifted truck, big old tornado on the side of it with my logo. And if you see me, and I am not rushing to my vehicle to get in and run, I'll buy you a tea or a Coke or whatever and sit down and answer questions. I mean, I'm a great guy. I tell all my chasers, I say, hey, if you see somebody and they want an autograph, give them an autograph. And if you have to buy them something, send me a bill.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, I have some more questions for you. So if they want to see
Sure.
some of the photos and video, they can see it there on the site you gave
Yes,
us?
ma'am. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, so I did want to ask you about your working with Albert Flores. Will you tell us more about that?
hmm Well, Albert is my business partner. I have a company called TCJR Enterprises, which is 5 other entities under that, which is part of Texas Vortex, and then we have another business called Arc Industries. We build storm shelters, mesonet stations, sirens. Then we have an oil field side of Arc Industries that we do. We take wastewater, toxic water, and reclaim the water into drinking water. And then we also have a clear fluids division. We have a drilling fracking division that we're trying to get started now. But all this is really not all together. We're just starting it. So we're starting the weather side first, and then we're going into the oil field. So I have different partners within different things.
Oh,
I have my own photography business, so I just don't take photography of storms. I do landscape and ranches, um, and exotic animals. You know, your white-tailed deer and all that stuff. I take photos of all of that too, especially if a person's trying to sell their land or they're trying to sell a ranch and they want to see what type of animals is on. And I'll spend hours and hours inside of a deer blind just taking pictures, and I get paid for that. So you know we've got several businesses. What was the question again? Because I just lost it.
no, it was basically partnering with Albert Flores because
Yeah.
you,
So Albert, he he's kind of like my mentor. You know how you have a professor, or you might have Garth Brooks as your mentor.
right.
Um, Albert is my mentor. I go to Albert for everything. I mean, we kicked it off so well with each other. I've been over his house. I've ate lunch with him. I've barbecued with him. I've drank a beer with him. We've sit down and played pool together. As a matter of fact, I just turned 40 on the 21st of March, and we had a private party. He came up with some other meteorologists, and we all sit down. We had barbecue, you know, and everything. So Albert is like, I call him my brother. He's an older man, but he is my brother. I don't have a brother, and I treat him as one of my family members, and he treats me as one of his family members. Now, I will say we have been sideways before. He's chewed me out for something, and it's a learning experience. So I guess, you know, Albert's in his late 60s. I guess I'm kind of like a child of his. I don't know, but I mean, he'll even tell people that I'm a meteorologist, and I'm not a meteorologist. I have a lot of experience of what I do.
Hmm.
But Albert is like my number one person. I mean, he's put me on TV. He didn't have to put me on TV. Um, and a matter of fact, the story goes is I went in for an interview at Fox 29, and I got turned down to be the chaser for that station.
Hmm.
And I was trying to make a name for myself at that time. And as walking through, you know, I wear shorts and stuff like that, but at that point I was dressed. I looked like a young Kenny Chesney. I mean, I was cowboy hat and western clothes, boots and all, and I didn't look shabby. And I was walking down the hall, and Albert stopped and says, "Can I help you?" And I said, "Oh my God, you're Albert Flores," because I remember when I was in second grade watching Albert Flores, and I told my mother at one time, I said, "I'm going to meet that man." Who would have known that in second grade? You know, if you were very young. And lo and behold, years later, he's my business partner, and it's a great story. I mean, we sit down in the green room, and he went through all of my photos, went through all of my videos at that time. I blew his mind with my photography. We discussed things, and of course, you know, your heart's racing, heart's beating real fast. I mean, this is my idol. This is not. It would be like to you, George Strait. You know, this
Yeah.
guy's my idol. Yeah, this guy is my idol. This guy is like, wow, you know, I mean, he's a meteorologist, and I wanted to be a meteorologist.
Yeah.
And meteorology school is so expensive. I mean, you're talking about $90,000 to $100,000, depending on what you do. You know,
Mhm.
depending on if you get your master's degree or doctorate degree, or you're just a TV meteorologist, then that's a different story. But this guy was my idol. And when I
Yeah.
told him that, he's like, "Man, I feel old now." But uh, we sit down. He did an introduction on TV with me. And matter of fact, that introduction is on YouTube. If you look up Texas Vortex Storm Chase Team, um, and then from then on, he stuck with me. I mean, he told me one time. He said, "The only reason, Tom, I'm still with you is because you never give up. You never give up. You bust brick walls. If you have something that comes to you and it stops you, you just find some other way to go around, and you keep going. You keep going. You never stop.
I love
So
it.
now when Albert comes, or tells me, like, tomorrow we're having a big meeting in San Antonio, and I'm gonna go see Albert at his house. Then we're gonna go to the meeting together. Um, Now my heart doesn't race because he's my friend. He's one of my best friends, and
Right.
and people say, "Oh, wow, man, you're friends with Albert Flores." Yeah, he's just another guy right now. He's just a good friend of mine.
So, okay. So you decide whether you're going to chase a storm or not. So tell us take us through that. Take us through that day when you are racing to your truck to chase the storm, and tell us, step by step, what it feels like.
Let let me explain first before we get to that.
Okay.
I know what's going on within 6 weeks ahead of the public. So we look at models every day. We
Okay.
know what's going on 6 weeks ahead of time. 2 weeks before the storm, it's going to move different directions, and we'll be able to see this on models. Within 72 hours, I already know where I'm going to go because I've ran models within certain areas. You can go to National Weather Service and look up your area. There's some tools that we use that we can't give out to the public because if we actually warned people of what's going to happen early, this is what they say. Early, it could cause a catastrophe type thing where people would go completely nuts.
Right. Buying all the
Until we
water and all the
find
toilet paper.
right, right. So if you create a big pandemic. I mean, you don't know. I mean, it could show over San Antonio it's going to be a high risk that day, and that's 6 weeks out. But when you get to 72 hours, it's sitting in Seguin or it's sitting in New Braunfels. It's not going to stay in that one spot. So we look at models and everything. 72 hours out, I already know what I'm going to do. I'm getting my stuff together. I'm getting ready to go. I have a go bag that has all my cameras in it. As a matter of fact, it's like a dolly. I mean, it rolls. It's that heavy. There's so much equipment I take with me. And then I have shirts, and then I have food, and I've got to have all my snacks and everything while driving down the road. And then within, like, this system that's going to happen Sunday, I let my team know, hey, I'm going to be chasing Sunday. Carla and I will be chasing. My wife's name is Carla. Carla and I will be chasing. And if I have any room in the truck, I can take on a couple of my guys if they want to go. This time I won't have anything because I have my PTSD dog that's going to be riding with me. Then within 24 hours out, we'll probably reposition ourselves again because it's not going to be in that certain area. It'll move just a little bit or whatnot. It might change in numbers, like in millibars, or it might change in joules per kilogram. And I'll see something within the models that I need to go somewhere else. And then it's a rush. The day of the chase, I have shirts that I wear. I have jackets. There's one of my jackets in the back has my logo all over it. Every one of my chasers has shirts that says their name, the company, and on the back. It all reflects. That way everybody can see us and everything. The night before the chase, I will go around my truck, make sure I've got all of my warning lights on. We have strobe lights just like police, but we only run amber and white, the caution lights. So I'll run around the whole truck making sure all the lights are working and everything. That way people can see us. And then we're out on the road. We try to get there as soon as possible. If I can leave early and sit where I need to be for 4 hours,
Mhm.
Great. But there's sometimes where I drive 8 hours and I don't get any break. I have to go. And when we chase a storm, we're constantly looking at a radar system. I usually have a navigator with me, a person that can say, "Hey, I need to go to the northeast." They'll they'll navigate me, and I've taught several navigators. That's what I used to do before I did anything else. Before I had Texas Vortex, I worked for another um, individual storm chaser as a navigator and radar guy. So I know what to look at. Normal people on TV, they would see what we call reflectivity off of the radar system. It's what you would see on TV. That's called reflectivity. We run in velocity, so it takes all the rain out, all the hail out, and only uses wind within that radar. And we can see where the tornado is at. We can see it form. Um, we can say, oh, we got some rotation here. Do we need to go there? The storm's going to split, and it's usually the bottom storm that produces the tornado or whatnot. Um, it's like being on a roller coaster all this time. It kind of actually slows down um, until you're done with it. You kind of look around and say, wow, where did the day go? Because you're so focused, you don't have time to stop. Uh, when my fuel gets down to half of a tank and I've got time, I swoop in, get some fuel, and boom, I'm gone. Um, we barely even have time to go use the bathroom.
That's what I was
We're
gonna
so busy.
ask.
Yeah.
What about the bathroom?
Well, sometimes you have to do the Texas way and stop on the side of the road, uh, or you miss your storm, there's been times that I've had to stop in Oklahoma and use the restroom and I miss my storm.
Oh.
But, the one of the biggest things is make sure I'm a tea guy. I'm a sweet tea guy. And I get on the highway and I'm going to have to stop drinking sweet tea because, so I start going to water or I go to coffee does the same thing, but I don't need to stop on the side of the road.
Yeah.
If I stop to get fuel, then I go to the bathroom, but we don't even eat. I carry cans of Vienna sausages with me and Spam and summer sausage and stuff. If I've got time and I'm out in the middle of nowhere, we don't get on no interstate. We're off on country roads or farm to market roads or whatever, and then we're slicing summer sausages and crackers, So that's part of chasing. Now, the bad part of chasing is when you're done and you have driven 16 hours like I did Friday of last week. I drove 16 hours that day. 9 of it was coming home. So now you're at night, you're tired because you've racked your brain. You've done all of this stuff in and out of the vehicle, everything. And now you're coming home. Your radar guy is asleep. You have nobody to talk to but the radio. And you're coming home and you're not seeing anything. It's dark, Yeah. Sometimes we might have lightning to look at, but on the way home, it's like, it's all memories of what has happened within that day coming home. And we're tired. Now, the way everything has gone up, I can't afford to stay at a hotel. Sometimes I've slept in my pickup.
Gotcha.
You should know that with the profession that you do. You should know that. So, it's like, I guess it's kind of like being in the rodeo circuit in a way. You don't have time to stay at a motel. You just sleep in your vehicle, get up, take off. If I'm real tired, I'll do that. But there's been times where I just stop in the parking lot and I'll walk the parking lot 4 or 5 times get back in my truck and take off, because I have to be back, and the next morning I got to go and take care of my businesses, or I may have another chase somewhere else. And I don't like sleeping at motel rooms. It's just, I like my bed, you know?
Yeah.
So that's the process of storm chasing. Other than all the rush and everything. I mean, it's not, like I said, we don't do this for a rush. We're not just 15, what we call a 15 minutes of famer. We're not that person. Hey, look, I got a tornado in the background. That's not us. We are there to warn people and help save lives. We are what the radar cannot see. We are on the ground. The National Weather Service, our meteorologists, can contact us while we're on the ground and tell them what's happening. And that's happened several times. Their radar may go down. They rely on us. We are at the bottom of the totem pole. We don't get paid. And we should get paid, but we don't get paid. You know.
Well, I have just a couple more questions for you, because I know you've got to get going, because you are working with other people right now as we speak. But what is the longest that you've been out on chasing a storm?
Oh, I think I ran, if I can remember correctly, in 2011, I ran 14 days.
Whew.
So I slept in my vehicle, or I slept at a friend's house, or I was out 14 days. Since then, the longest has been maybe 4 or 5 days out on the road. And now this new thing, if we do our deal tomorrow, I may not be home for 2 or 3 weeks, and I might stay home for a couple of days and then take off again.
And
so it's only 3 months out of the season. That's really. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. But you'll update your social media when you have internet connection, or do you?
So we go live on there. I can go live with 5 different chasers at one time. You can go on there and watch us. And you'll get, if you go to Texas Vortex Storm Chase Team on Facebook, like and follow it, you will get the updates as soon as we go live.
Cool.
We do forecasts 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We have our own forecast team that does that. We have 3 meteorologists that have 30 years plus. Albert is one of them. He does some stuff for us. And we have another guy by the name of Kerry Burgess. He used to be in San Antonio a long time ago. And then we have another guy by the name of Eric Reinhold. He used to be with Ken's 5. So, you know, those guys gone on, they retired and went on about their own businesses, but they work for us as well. So you can go on there, you can click on the videos. You're going to be going through a lot of forecasts and stuff like that, because we do live forecasts. And you can see some of our live footage that's on there. Or if we go live, it will notify you that we are live. And you can see right then and there, and even interact with us at the same time.
Oh, wow.
A lot of people don't understand. We go live all over the United States and sometimes across the world. The problem with that, our name is Texas Vortex Storm Chase Team. We're headquartered out of Texas. That's where we started at. A lot of people ask, well, why didn't you just drop Texas off and call it Vortex Storm Chase Team? Well, it just doesn't sound right. Plus, we wanted to go where we came from.
Yeah.
So we just think of it like this. If you, let's say your aunt lived in Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee, and a storm system was coming through. And the National Weather Service puts up a red box, meaning a tornado warning for Nashville, Tennessee. We'll post that. And that way it will alert you. And you can go on there and see if it's anywhere near your aunt. And you can warn your aunt. Say, hey, Aunt Kathy, follow Texas Vortex, because they just don't run in Texas. They run all over the world. And you may be going to New York for a country singing or whatever,
Right.
and you want to see if there's anything going on, and that's what we provide for everybody, and it doesn't cost you one dime. Yeah, we do it all for free.
Wow, that's incredible. Okay, well, I'm gonna go check out your site. I mean, I visited your site some, but that's
Hmm.
incredible. So, what do you want listeners to know most about you and your purpose? And what I'm gonna ask this question: what if they want to do the same thing?
Well, if you want to do what I do, first off, you need to get with Skywarn. Skywarn is a place to where you can actually learn. Um, you can learn the basics, and then you have an advanced class. It's free for anybody, um, but it's not. Most of this is on-hand experience. If you're interested, we take on what we call rookies. We take on a bunch of rookies and we train them. But
Uh,
the first thing that people ask is, "Am I going to get paid?"
nope.
Like I said, we don't get paid for anything. Not unless we have an investor. And no offense, my guys that's been with me for the past 8 years are going to get paid because they run.
That
We
makes
don't. I run 20,000 miles a year. One of my other guys runs more than me. Um, so those guys have been waiting to get paid. But Skywarn, learn as much as you can from Skywarn. Go online. There's YouTube videos. Um, there's no university. There's no high school. No nothing like that to learn this from. It's more of on-hand experience. Now, if you're really interested in becoming a atmospheric science person, then I suggest go to Mississippi State University, University Incarnate Word in San Antonio,
sense.
UTSA in San Antonio, or UT period, Texas A&M, uh, Oklahoma State University, not OSU. Yeah, OSU has a program. Oklahoma University of Oklahoma has a great program, and that you can get your degree. Even Texas Tech, Kansas has a one as well, and learn what field you want to go into, because there's different fields.
That
You
is,
can go in. You're not going to be a storm chaser. You're going to become a meteorologist. You're going to become a field meteorologist, or you might become a TV meteorologist, or you might become an atmospheric scientist. That's where you go for that.
yeah.
Our deal, uh, I'm trying to prove something. You ever watch The Apprentice on
Yes.
TV with Donald Trump?
Yes, you're
Okay,
fired.
you have the book smart, and then you have the street smart. I'm more the street smart. I have no college degree in anything. Um, I used to work in the oil field as a fluids engineer, for fracking and stuff like that, but I don't have a degree in it. Unfortunately, I couldn't go to school like that. I didn't have a scholarship or anything like that. I was homeschooled all my life. So, my best advice for a person is, if you chase a storm, you have to go with your gut. If you have this real deep pain in your chest and you're worried about that storm, don't go.
Yeah.
Just don't go. There's been situations with that. But I would tell my guys all the time, go with your gut. Do as the clouds tell you to do. To me, that's old school way of looking at the clouds to see what's going on. Models, to me, do nothing for me. I might go in there and look at the models to make sure I'm correct with my gut feeling. or where the setup is. But you'll never hardly see me run models to tell me where I go. So, unfortunately, I cannot tell a person how to chase because it's a liability. It's a big liability.
Completely understand.
If you go out there and get yourself hurt, well, Tom at Texas Vortex said no, so I'm not going to do that. I'm actually going to tell you. I'm actually going to tell you, don't do it. I mean, it might be a passion. I'll say this: every fireman and every EMS and some police are on Skywarn, and they claim them to be storm chasers, and they're not storm chasers. Do we get ridiculed by law enforcement? Yes, we do. Texas loves us in some places. Oklahoma loves us, but Kansas will give you a ticket. They'll give you a ticket for spectating a storm, and that's a $2,000 fine. They will arrest you for chasing storms. So you're dodging police. We try to contact law enforcement. For instance, right up the road from Kerrville is Junction, Texas. We do a lot of stuff with the sheriff up there. We tell him what's going on and everything. He respects us. They don't bother us.
Excellent.
And we have that camaraderie all over the state. I mean, highway patrolmen know us and stuff like that. Where you get in trouble at is when you have a regular old car that has no insignia on the side of it, or you don't have any instruments or anything like that. Then they have more of the ability to stop you because they don't know who you are. I got a $1,700 wrap on the side of my truck, so I'm not playing games. I've got a $1,000 mezzo station back into my truck. I got camera equipment, so cops know who we are. Law enforcement knows who we are. But I don't recommend a person that works at HEB that thinks that if they're going to make a bunch of money storm chasing, go out there and do it. You have to have a passion for it. I have an acoustic guitar at my house. I can't sing for crap. That doesn't mean that I'm going to be a country artist or a rock artist. So I just pick around with it. But it'd be like you coming in as a storm chaser.
No, I'm afraid of thunder and lightning. No.
Well, I used to be afraid of stuff like that. I really did. But I've seen people get in my vehicle. Once you do it, it's a rush. But I've seen people get in my vehicle and get in the fetal position.
Oh.
And sitting there rocking back and forth. I want to go home. I want to go home. I want to go home. Oh. And when that happens, I find the nearest bus station, buy them a ticket home because I got to finish my job. I just can't turn around and go home.
Yeah.
So.
Mm-hmm. Well, kudos to you, and I wish you so much success with this, and wish you success with getting investors to fund this so that you can get better equipment. And it's incredible. Keep chasing your dream.
That's right, and always help save lives. If there is anybody out there that listens to your deal and they want to get with you to help us or sponsor us or whatnot, and I will be gladly to talk to them. Albert will be in the meeting as well, and you have my phone number. I believe I gave you my business card online, and please give me a holler. Other than that, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, VK, whatever platform that's out there. And you can look at our website, texasvortex.org, or you may see us on the road. And if you do, and we're running to the vehicle, don't follow us. It's just one of those things. We're in a hurry or whatnot. But You can interact with us on our Facebook page. You can message us, ask us any questions, send us photos. And if you're interested in chasing, we take on a few a year to chase with us. Or if you want to come chase with us, Bonnie, you can. You want to crawl in this passenger seat and come chase, you're more welcome.
Okay, only if it's a mild storm. You can just let me know if it's mild, because I'm terrified seeing the lightning and thunder. Yeah, I don't know. You'd be sending me on a bus.
You what, nobody has made a song for our team, so maybe you'll come up with maybe a song for us.
I will. That sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, and if we get on our documentary or whatever, maybe we can use the music off of it. You get some of that funding.
That sounds good. I'll work on something. Okay. That sounds like a great idea. Great inspiration. I'll keep an eye on your website to look for all that inspiration. But it has been such a pleasure getting to meet you today, getting to learn this. This is something entirely so new. Was there anything else that you would like to say that maybe I didn't ask?
No, I'm gonna meet you one day and get an autograph. How about that?
And I'm gonna get your autograph.
All right.
Well, thank you again for taking time out of your busy schedule, and be safe. Wishing all of you and your the people that are chasing with you, just sending them prayers, just that they stay out of harm's way. And thank you so much for what you're doing to help save lives as well.
And thank you for having me on your show.